Trials for the 6 officers charged in the death of Freddie Gray, as we've told you, will stay in Baltimore. Judge Barry Williams' decision comes days after the Board of Estimates approved that $6.4 million settlement with Gray's family. We're joined this afternoon by attorney Warren Alperstein with more on the latest trial developments today. Warren, thanks for coming back in.
My pleasure. Good to be here.
So it sounds like the judge didn't feel like either side really made a compelling element as far as the defense wanting to move it.
Right. Well, what Judge Williams found was he listened to both sides, and both sides really, I was there all morning and all afternoon, and what Judge Williams determined, both sides absolutely made compelling arguments. The defense argued that and said, hey, look, Judge, we cannot find a fair and impartial jury. We will not be able to impanel such a jury because there's been such overwhelming negative publicity throughout this case, going all the way back to the beginning of the case. And because of that, so many citizens have been adversely affected, be it the curfew, the aftermath of the riots that so disrupted everybody's daily lives, as we remember, as well as now the new argument, which was added today, which is this $6.4 million settlement is coming out of taxpayer dollars. So certainly, again, citizens, the defense argued, are continuously and will continuously be adversely affected. The state, on the other hand, argued, saying, Judge, hey, how do we know we can't impanel a fair and impartial jury unless we try? Just because the defense makes this argument doesn't mean it's not true, that we can still do it. And the judge sided with the state today and said, we're going to try. We're not going to paint the citizens with one broad brush and say, we can't. How do we know? Let's try. And if it doesn't work, it can still be moved if a fair and impartial jury can't be impaneled.
And that was what I was going to ask you next. It's important to point out, but this isn't really a done deal.
It is absolutely not a done deal. So what will happen is the first officer will elect either a court trial before Judge Williams or another judge sitting in the circuit court here in Baltimore City, or a jury trial. And there's a process called the voir dire process. It's a fancy Latin term. Simply what it is, it's a process where the state, the defense, participate in a process along with the court where they ask a number of questions to wean out any jurors that have biases, prejudices, or preconceived opinions as to the guilt or innocence of the officers. And if at that point in time, after that process, 12 jurors cannot be impaneled, at that point the court would have no choice but to then remove this to another jurisdiction.
You think the impact of the $6.4 million settlement will obviously play a role in this case?
I think it absolutely can, and the reason is that, you know, this is taxpayer money. It has to come from somewhere, and certainly every juror is affected by programs that are being cut, property taxes that are increasing, or any number of things that that our system, relies on through taxpayer dollars. So yes, it's another direct impact on the jury pool, this $6.4 million settlement.
All right, next month. Warren, thanks so much for coming in. I'm sure we'll be seeing you again real soon.
My pleasure. Thank you.
All right, coming up next here on